What if a single pair of socks on your feet right now started its journey on a windy hillside, inside a truck, and traveled hundreds of miles before it ever touched human hands? It sounds simple, but the real story is far stranger than you think. Somewhere between a sheep's back and your closet, wool goes through a process so intense, so precise, that most people never imagine it. And by the end of this video, you will never look at a pair of socks the same way again. This is the hidden world of wool. A world of machines that spin faster than the eye can follow. A world of workers who know secrets passed down for generations. A world where nature and technology collide to create something soft, warm, and almost magical. Wool socks are everywhere. In stores, in homes, on hikers' feet in freezing mountains. Almost nobody knows how they are actually made. Today, that changes. You are about to see the full journey from a sheep standing on a quiet farm to a finished sock ready to be worn. But first, we need to go back to where it all begins. Not in a factory, not in a warehouse, but on a farm, where the story truly starts. Part 1. The farm. Picture a wide green farm early in the morning. Fog rolls across the hills. Sheep move slowly, eating grass, unaware that their wool will soon travel far from home. These sheep are not ordinary. Farmers choose specific breeds for their soft, thick coats. Some breeds grow wool that feels rough. Others grow wool so fine, it feels like silk. Factories want the second kind. For months, these sheep grow their wool naturally. It thickens, it curls. It becomes strong enough to protect them from cold nights and harsh winds. The farmer checks on them daily, watching the weather, tracking how fast each flock's coat is filling out. Rain, wind, and grazing quality all shape how the wool grows. A dry season can leave the fibers thinner, while a mild, wet spring often produces a thicker, denser coat. Some farms rotate their sheep between fields, giving the grass time to recover and keeping the animals healthier. Healthier sheep, farmers say, grow better wool. It's a quiet, patient kind of work. One that has barely changed in generations, even as everything downstream from it has been transformed by machines. Then one morning, everything changes. Workers arrive with a large truck. The sheep are gently guided into a loading ramp. One by one, they step inside the truck, unsure of what is happening. The engine starts, the truck begins to move. This moment matters more than people realize. The sheep are being transported by road from the open farm to the wool factory, where the real transformation begins. As the truck rolls down long country roads, the sheep sway gently with each turn. Some workers ride along to keep them calm. This part of the journey might look ordinary, but it sets the stage for everything that happens next. But here's the twist. The sheep are not being taken away to be harmed. They are being taken to be sheared, a process far more careful and skillful than most people imagine. Part 2. Shearing and washing. The truck finally arrives at the factory. Large metal gates open. Workers guide the sheep out one at a time into a clean, organized shearing area. This is where the real transformation begins. A skilled shearer picks up an electric clipper. With practiced hands, they begin removing the sheep's thick wool coat in long, smooth strokes. It looks intense, but professional shearers are trained to do this quickly and painlessly. Some of the most experienced shearers can complete a full fleece in under 2 minutes. Moving in a set pattern so the wool comes off in one continuous piece instead of scattered clumps. Within minutes, a full fleece of wool falls to the floor. The sheep, now lighter and cooler, walks away calmly, ready to grow a brand new coat over time. But what happens to that giant pile of wool? This is where things get surprising. The wool is not ready for socks yet, not even close. It's dirty, greasy, and tangled. It contains natural oils, dust, and tiny bits of hay. In fact, a freshly shorn fleece can lose a significant amount of its weight once all the dirt and grease are removed. What looks like a heavy bundle of wool is often only a fraction usable fiber. Workers gather the wool and sort it by quality. Some sections are soft and perfect, others are rough and need extra processing. Every strand matters. Sorters run their fingers through each fleece, feeling for fineness and length, separating the finest wool, destined for socks worn against bare skin, from coarser. Then the wool is sent to a place many people have never seen, the washing station. Giant machines pour warm water and gentle soap over the wool, removing dirt and oil. The wool comes out lighter, cleaner, and much softer than before. The wash water itself is often filtered and reused, since the natural lanolin grease removed from the wool is valuable enough to be collected and sold separately. Used in everything from skincare products to leather conditioners. But even after washing, something surprising is still missing. The wool isn't ready yet, not even close. Part 3. Carding, spinning, and dyeing. Now comes one of the most fascinating parts of the entire process: carding. Carding machines use rows of fine metal teeth to comb through the wool. This straightens the tangled fibers and aligns them in one direction. Before this step, the wool looks messy, like a cloud of hair. After carding, it becomes smooth, soft, and ready for spinning. The carded wool often comes out in a loose rope-like strand called a sliver, which will later be drawn out and thinned before spinning even begins. This is where the wool truly starts looking like something you'd recognize. Next, the wool moves to spinning machines. These machines twist thousands of thin fibers together, creating strong, stretchy yarn. The spinning process happens so fast that it becomes almost hypnotic to watch, spindles rotating in a blur while the yarn builds up on bobbins one thin layer at a time. But here's something most people don't know. The tightness of the twist changes how the socks will feel. Tighter yarn creates thicker, more durable socks. Looser yarn creates softer, lighter socks. Every factory has its own secret balance. As the yarn spins onto large spools, workers inspect it closely. Any weak spot could break during knitting. Any thickness variation could ruin the sock's shape. This step requires incredible attention to detail, and many factories now use sensors alongside human eyes, scanning the yarn for inconsistencies too small to catch by hand. Then the yarn is dyed, if color is needed. Natural wool colors range from white to brown to gray, but many socks require bold colors. Dye vats heat the yarn. The temperature and timing matter enormously here. Too hot or too long, and the wool fibers can become brittle. Too short, and the color won't hold after repeated washing. But there's a twist. Some manufacturers keep the wool undyed to preserve its natural texture and breathability. This decision changes the entire personality of the final sock. The yarn is ready for the next big transformation, becoming an actual sock. Part for knitting and finishing this is where everything changes. This is the biggest turning point in the entire journey. The yarn moves to a knitting machine, a mechanical marvel with hundreds of tiny needles moving faster than the human eye can track. In just a few minutes, a shapeless string of yarn becomes a fully formed sock. Watching this happen feels almost unreal. The machine loops, twists, and weaves the yarn into a perfect pattern. It creates the heel, the toe, and the stretchy top, all without a single stitch being sewn by hand. Many modern machines are programmed with digital patterns, meaning a factory can switch from plain socks to ribbed, cushioned, or patterned designs simply by loading a new setting. But here's the shocking part. A single knitting machine can produce dozens of socks in the time it takes you to read this sentence. Once the sock takes shape, it moves to quality control. Workers examine every stitch. They check for uneven texture, loose threads, or weak spots. If something is wrong, the sock is set aside and never sold. Some factories also test stretch and elasticity by hand, pulling gently at the cuff to make sure it will hold its shape wash after wash. Then something unexpected happens. The sock goes through a process called finishing, where it's shaped using heat and steam. This step gives it its final size and structure, ensuring it fits perfectly on real feet. The sock is often pulled over a metal foot-shaped form called a boarding form during this step, locking in its exact size before it ever gets folded. But there's one more secret step that most consumers never know about. Some wool socks go through an anti-itch treatment, softening the fibers so they feel gentle against skin. This is especially important for people with sensitive feet. This treatment sometimes involves a light chemical or enzyme wash that smooths the microscopic scales on each wool fiber, which is what causes the itchy feeling in cheaper, untreated wool. At this point, the sock looks complete. But the transformation isn't finished yet. Part 5. Packaging and distribution. Now comes the final stage: packaging and distribution. Each pair of socks is folded, labeled, and prepared for shipping. Workers double-check sizes, colors, and material tags. Every detail must be accurate before the socks leave the factory. Barcodes and care labels are attached at this stage too, across cities, countries, and sometimes entire continents. This journey, from farm to factory to your feet, involves precision, science, and skilled human hands working together with powerful machines. And here's the incredible part. This entire process happens every single day, all over the world, mostly unnoticed by the people wearing the final product. Next time you put on a pair of wool socks, you'll know the truth. You'll know about the truck ride, the shearing, the washing, the carding, the spinning, the dyeing, the knitting, the finishing, and the careful inspection that made it possible. It's a hidden industry, quietly powering warmth and comfort for millions of people. So here is the real question, now that you know the truth behind something as simple as socks, what other everyday objects might have an incredible hidden story behind them? If this video opened your eyes to something you never knew before, let us know in the comments. Hit like if you learned something new today, and subscribe for more hidden stories most people never see.